Today's lesson focuses on section 17.3, aromatic compounds. The number one most important aromatic compound is known as benzene. Benzene is written as two different possible ring-shaped structures. The carbon atoms form themselves into a ring, and it's also written as a hexagon with a circle drawn inside of it, and I'll show you that in just a minute. Originally, benzene was found in many compounds that had fragrant odors, and so now benzene compounds are called aromatic compounds. The aroma and flavor of some herbs like anise, tarragon, and thyme are due to aromatic compounds. There you can see the hexagon with a ring shape inside, and that is the benzene ring. So benzene contains 6 carbon atoms in a ring, but when it's sharing, it's only sharing 6 electrons. That means there needs to be 3 double bonds to make those 6 electrons share equally between, and having 6 hydrogens as well. So you can see here we have 6 hydrogens around the outside, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 carbons bonded together. And then you can see there are 3 double bonds in an alternating position. There is a resonance in between these two structures of benzene. Notice in this structure the bonds are in alternate positions. So what happens is the double bonds don't really stick in one position. They don't really flip back and forth. They actually, it's almost like it's a bond and a half in between the two. So instead of drawing these 2 structures for benzene, they draw a hexagon shape with a circle in the middle, and the circle represents those double bonds that are kind of shared equally between all the different carbon atoms. So sometimes it's written with the hydrogen showing, more often without the hydrogens in this hexagon with a circle inside. When we have aromatic compounds, benzene is always the parent chain. So we have a substituent groups in front of the name benzene. Some of the substituted compounds, with some of the compounds with substituent groups, have common names. So here's one with a methyl group known as toluene. Excuse me. Here's one with an NH2 group called aniline, and one with an OH group called phenol. So you can see these have one substituent group on the benzene ring, but they have common names. When there are 2 or more substituents on the benzene, the ring is numbered, and the substituents get numbers just like we did in the alkanes and so on. So you can see here we have 2 chlorines at position 1 and 2. So that's 1,2-dichlorobenzene. This is 1 and 3. And then here we have it at 1 and 4. So all 3 of these compounds would have different properties, and so they're named differently. When there are 2 or more substituents, the ring is numbered to give substituents the lowest possible number. So here we had this NH2 group was aniline. So the bromo is at position 3, so it's 3-bromoaniline. This OH group was commonly known as phenol, so 4-bromophenol. And then this CH3 group here is the toluene substituent benzene, so this is 2-bromotoluene. So writing the IUPAC name for a compound. So we need to know that we have a benzene ring, and then here we have a methyl group. So instead of naming it methylbenzene, it is more commonly known as toluene. So while methylbenzene is a IUPAC name, the toluene is the more traditional name given in this example. So the methyl group of the toluene, which is right here, is attached to carbon number 1, so we number that carbon number 1. And then here at carbon number 3 is the chloro group, so it's known as 3-chlorotoluene. Here are some examples of some common aromatic compounds. You don't necessarily have to write these down, but they do have some lots of uses. Toluene is a very common aromatic compound used to make drugs, dyes, and explosives such as TNT. You may have heard of TNT as an explosive before. TNT stands for trinitrotoluene. So here we have the benzene ring and the toluene methyl group. And then we have nitro groups, NO2, 1, 2, 3 of them attached to the toluene, so trinitrotoluene. We also find aromatic compounds in nature and in medicine. Aspirin is actually found in nature, but there you can see the benzene ring in the aspirin. Acetaminophen, which is Tylenol, has a benzene ring there in it as well. And vanillin, which is the aromatic compound in vanilla that makes it have that smell. We can have larger aromatic compounds. These are called polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons, where we fuse together 2 or more benzene rings, and they share edge to edge, and we have 1, 2 carbon atoms shared between each benzene ring. 2 benzene rings together is known as naphthalene, and it's the odor from mothballs. Anthracene has 3 benzene rings and is used in the manufacturing of dyes, food dyes, clothing dyes, those sorts of things. When we have 3 polycyclic benzene rings called penanthrene, they're not 3 in a row, it's kind of 3 in a little jagged edge there. Or here we have 5. These are potent carcinogens. These polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons, such as benzopyrene, they interact with DNA in your cells, causing abnormal cell growth and cancer. The more you're exposed to these carcinogens, increases the chance of a DNA altering event. The benzopyrene, which is a product in coal tar and tobacco smoke, and that's a known carcinogen. So that's the lesson on aromatics, mainly focusing on the naming and the drawing of the substituent groups.